Happening now, hours after a CNN inquiry, the U.S. Air Force has begun restoring online articles about retired Colonel NICOLE Malachowski, who was the first woman to fly with the elite Thunderbirds. Representatives from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina, where Malachowski served as commander of the 333rd Fighter Squadron, confirming to CNN affiliate KUSA that the articles were removed in compliance with President Trump's directives targeting DEI content. CNN received a statement from an Air Force spokesperson saying, quote, the U.S. Air Force salutes Colonel Malachowski's service as a leader, warfighter, and pilot. Digital content related to her career is currently being restored across all Air Force platforms. Going on to say, we continue to review all content under our purview to comply with Defense Department directives while honoring our history. So this is the error message that was previously popping up during searches about Colonel Malachowski. And then we'll show you the restored article. The headline there reads, DEI _ a life in flight for first woman Thunderbirds pilot. Joining me now, that trailblazer herself, retired Colonel NICOLE Malachowski. It's really great to have you with us. I'm curious, what was your initial reaction when you realized these articles about you had disappeared?
Well, thank you, Erica, for having me. I certainly appreciate this opportunity. When I first discovered that these articles were disappearing, I think I had a mix of emotions. The first being a little bit of shock and confusion. The fact is that I have been retired for over 7 years, and many of the articles that were deleted about me were more than a decade old. Then I started hearing that this was happening to countless other minority and women veterans, across our country. And it occurred to me that this is a bigger problem than just my individual story. And I think that was when I started to feel deeply concerned and maybe a little bit angry.
Maybe a little bit angry. So now the fact that these pages are now being restored, following some of these inquiries, coincidence, we don't know. What do you think that we're in this moment now where they're being restored?
Well, I'll tell you what, this news is definitely a surprise to me. It's certainly a pleasant surprise, but what I want people to understand is that it's not just about my story being restored or any individual service member or veteran stories. We know that tens of thousands of articles, social media posts, photos, and videos have actually been deleted and removed. And those articles are all related to the honorable service of women and our minority service members and veterans. And so it's more than just my story. This is a great first start. I'd like to see them keep going.
I was struck by something that you told 9 News. I just want to read this for our viewers, noting there was indeed a time when women and minorities could not fly aircraft in defense of their country. For us to act like those barriers never happened or those barriers were never broken is to completely ignore our history. Why is it so important for you that that struggle and that period of time before it was normal, perhaps, to see a female fighter pilot, why is that an important part of history?
It is so vital, I think, that we always celebrate and acknowledge historic firsts or when challenges and barriers are overcome. For the reason I think that I stated, right, we have to understand where we came from. There was indeed a time when Black Americans weren't allowed to serve their country, when women weren't allowed to fly, military aircraft. The second we forget about those struggles and challenges is the start, I think, of us regressing as a society. And I think that the other reason that we celebrate these first is that it is acknowledging that we are opening the door and keeping that door open for the second, the third, and the fourth.
There have been insinuations that people of color, that women are in some way perhaps not advancing based on merit, that this is, quote unquote DEI. The fact that your accomplishments were seemingly removed because you are a woman, does that make you feel like your accomplishments are viewed as being less than?
Well, I think in some people's eyes, that is in fact the case, and that's certainly unfortunate. I think that our country as a nation needs to come to an agreement on what DEI actually means. As someone who served over 21 years, remember, I'm a fighter pilot, I'm a combat veteran, a retired colonel. I'm somebody who cares deeply about my country, and I care deeply about the people I served with and the people that are serving now. This idea that DEI stifles meritocracy couldn't be further from the truth. We have to have the same, I think, definition of DEI. DEI is about casting that talent net wide as we can across America, so that our armed forces reflects the face of the nation, of course, that we're serving.
Do you have concerns about what else may have been removed in terms of content and whether that will be restored?
Oh, as an American, I have deep concerns about this whole issue. Remember, what we're talking about is mass censorship of the legitimate, credible, facts-based stories of veterans, people who served our country, many of them serving in wartime. My question, what I hope the viewers, think about is, if we as a country are so easily willing to censor the facts-based stories of those who wore our nation's uniform, what else are we willing to censor? I think this is setting an extraordinarily bad precedent for our country.
Colonel NICOLE Malachowski, really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and thank you for your service.